The flow state is a mental state where a person is 100% immersed in an activity, leading to extreme focus, concentration, and performance. But how do you actually get into one? Well, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help. Hi. When I was younger, about 13 or 14 years old, I would go to school every day and I wouldn't have to study because it was easy, and I was never actually used to studying. And I went to school, and then when I came back home, I just sat behind a computer and played video games. It was as simple as that. The problem is, the older I got, the exams actually got harder, and I had to learn how to study. Well, and studying seems simple, no? But when you're actually not used to it, it's not that easy. I could go study for like 10 minutes and it would feel like hours. But then when I would play video games, I could play video games for hours, but it would feel like minutes. Well, of course, Minecraft Bed Wars was way more enjoyable than studying. But I think I actually accidentally got into a flow state because I was so focused on the game and stuff like that. Well, just a couple of months ago, I first stumbled onto the terminology of flow state, or commonly referred to as the zone by athletes and people like that. Well, anyway, since I became aware of it, I actually started to be as focused as I can and try to get into it during every small activity, just like going to the gym or studying, as I mentioned before. If you think about it, really think about it, the best workouts you've ever had, if you exercise, you were probably pretty focused during them, right? And that might be because you were actually in the flow state. So everything seemed easier and you performed way better. So now I will tell you about a method that I found myself pretty effective to actually get into the state of flow. Firstly, of course, you have to decide what task you're going to perform. You can't do multiple things at a time. Just decide to study history, for example, and just do that. What I personally found to be really helpful is I just plan my whole day the day before. So I set a timetable and plan more or less everything. Of course, I don't plan when I'm gonna go to the toilet and stuff like that. But, just set out like a random block of time between like 5 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. and just study. Another thing I also would do, and I do it, is just prepare as much as you can before you actually go to study. For example, I say studying. Of course, you don't have to study. You can do some work or something. But just have a bottle of water prepared on your desk when you get here. Go to the toilet before so you won't have to do it while actually working. And possibly don't stuff yourself full with food before, because then you get a bit sleepy and you're not as concentrated. Concentrated. Yeah. Now, for getting into the actual flow state, you should have a step-by-step preparation list that you do every time before a work block or a study block. And mine is really simple. For 5 minutes before studying, I put on my headphones and just listen to 40 Hz binaural beats, which are supposed to help you concentrate and focus. If you don't know what binaural beats are, I will try to explain it in a kind of bro sciencey way. Basically, if you have headphones on, there are these two frequencies, and different frequencies play out into each ear. Yeah, I don't understand how it works, but it does, okay? Trust me. Oh yeah, and just so you know, a flow state usually lasts about 90 minutes. Of course, you can train it to last longer, or even if you have a really bad attention span, it lasts less time. But yeah, I just recommend putting out the blocks of work or studying into 90-minute blocks. Now, I'm not saying you should only study for 90 minutes a day, of course. You can study more, but you're gonna have to have multiple blocks of work. And I recommend having like 20 minutes in between them. in which you can rest. And by rest, I actually don't mean just go on your phone and start scrolling. No. You just lay down and close your eyes. Okay? Maybe don't fall asleep, but try to relax. And then your mind will be ready again to get into another flow state. Another important thing you should keep in mind is I study every day at around the same time. So for example, if I start studying at 5 p.m. today, I'll do it at 5 p.m. tomorrow as well. Because our brain kind of has a clock in itself, something like that. And it starts to associate studying with that time, so you're naturally gonna be more focused during that time. And yeah, that's just if you want, you don't have to do that, but
it helps.
A fun fact is that I actually have to get into flow state when making love to your mom because I last for so long. And basically that's more or less everything you should know, but there are 2 or 3 more specific things that can also help you. So the first thing that could actually help you is if you're studying and you don't just say, okay, I'm gonna study history for 2 hours. You rather decide the pages you're going to study. For example, you say you're gonna study from page 69 to page 87. So then, if you would only study for 2 hours, you would probably maybe procrastinate a bit in between. But if you decide to study a specific amount of pages, you will try to focus unconsciously as much as possible, so then you could learn as quickly as possible. Now, if you're having a problem at the beginning of a session, just
having a problem focusing.
If you're trying to study, just look at a small area in your notebook, like a letter, a word, even a sentence or something like that, and just squint your eyes for about 30 seconds to a minute, and you should naturally become more focused. Again, I don't know why this works. I'm not a scientist, but it does, trust me. Now, if you want to, of course, you can apply these protocols in the gym as well, but just keep in mind that you shouldn't be checking your phone in between sets and stuff like that, so you'll have a higher chance of getting into the actual flow state and having a better workout. Okay, besides everything I've just said, I wish you luck and keep on grinding.